Morning folks, it's Saturday the 15th of March 2025, just after 10 a.m. and I've just descended from Jacinto Peak. You can see my snowshoe tracks behind me there. There's a bitter northwest wind close to 30 miles an hour just at the peak, so just getting away from that. The snowshoe tracks you can see from behind me are on one of the sections of snow that's nice and firm and packed. As you can see, they're basically just going across the surface. The tracks that I'm making now probably visibly are going in a little bit deeper. In general, the snow conditions are pretty good, not post-holing too badly in snowshoes. So over the last 2 days we've had additional snow. It's actually technically 2 storms, but almost all of the snow came on Thursday the 13th. There's about additional somewhere around 17 to 18 inches here at the peak, on top of what was already here, which was somewhere in the 20s. We had got up to about 27 inches, but then we'd had a degree of melting as well. So we're probably right around 40 inches, plus or minus a couple of inches here at Jacinto Peak now. Snow quantities in this latest storm, we ended up with about 11 inches in Idlewild. And if we can see over my shoulder here, looking through behind, somewhere around in this area, the desert divide of the PCT, that's miles in and around 160 to 160, well, to about 170. Pretty continuous snow cover. The snow level dropped very low. It was a pretty cold system. So on Thursday the 13th we had a dusting actually down to about 3,500 feet. So there are several inches throughout the PCT in the San Jacinto Mountains, certainly everywhere between miles 151 and about 196, 197 right now. Total snow depths at Saddle Junction, for example, mile 179 was about 21 inches. One of the anomalies of this storm is that the high country was probably above some of the weather for a while, so accumulation wasn't that much higher at somewhere like Wellman Divide, for example, which is 9,700 feet, had a similar quantity of snow, was only just over about 20 inches or so. So it sort of depends on the location. But the higher parts of the PCT are all under about somewhere between 1 to 2 feet of snow in the San Jacinto Mountains at this time. Conditions, as I say, are superb for snowshoes. I put them on at Humber Park and broke trail the entire way up. Obviously, I know most PCTers are probably disinclined to carry snowshoes. Post-holing is going to be fairly hard work for the next few days, possibly the next couple of weeks, especially from about miles 169 through to the north end of Fuller Ridge at about 191. The good news, particularly for through hikers, is that much warmer weather is coming. Looks like the entire second half of March is probably clear and bright and sunny, more or less. It's going to be it's going to get back to about seasonal temperatures for the next few days, then above seasonal, and then considerably above seasonal a few days after that. So by next weekend, so in about 7, 8, 9 days time, we're actually going to be well above seasonal for March. That's particularly the case up here in the high country. It's true at mid elevations as well, but even more so up here, high up. In my experience at these elevations, at this time of year, second half of March, first half of April, we can lose as much as a foot of snow a week. I've recorded that in past years. So we'll see. We only have, like I say, three plus feet in the greatest depths, really. So a lot of that could be gone by certainly sometime in April. We'll see. That's assuming we don't get any more storms, maybe sometime in April. There were really strong winds accompanying this latest storm, most of the storms this year, but particularly this latest one. So drifting is pretty dramatic. Some areas, even if I'm saying something like an average of 3+ feet, there are drifts 4 or 5 feet deep, and there are also some areas I've come past that are more or less scoured out to the point that they're only an inch or two deep. So it will melt very inconsistently due to real differential in depth in places. So spikes would be recommended whether you're through hiking or just regular hiking, pretty much anywhere above. Right now, carrying them above 5,000 is probably not a bad idea. That level is going to rise really quickly. That could be 6,000 within 2 or 3 days, and could be as high as something like 7,000 or even 7,500 by next weekend. And otherwise, as always, a gorgeous day in the San Jacinto Mountains, and safe hiking, everyone.